Once you've powered off the phone, the bottom two pentalobe screws around the charge port will need to be removed. An opening tool can then be slid in between the plastic frame on the screen and the metal back housing and twisted slightly. You'll likely want to do this on both sides of the home button to unseat the bottom of the screen. The screen can then be carefully lifted slightly to expose the home button flex, which will still be tethered to the charge port. To remove this connection safely, the metal bracket on top of the clip will need to be removed before the clip can be undone itself. The phone can then be opened up the rest of the way. Before going any further, you'll want to unclip the battery. You'll need to remove these two Phillips screws and plate before being able to unfasten the clip. To remove the display assembly, the 4 Phillips screws that anchor the plate for the display clips can be removed along with the plate as well. Once the plate is off, the clips can be removed in the following order: the clip for the front camera assembly, the clip for the LCD, and the clip for the digitizer. You can continue by removing either the home button or the front camera assembly first. To remove the home button, the top right screw that grounds the home button can be removed along with the 2 Phillips screws and back plate that hold the button in. Once these are removed, the flex for the button can be unadhered from the plastic frame by carefully pulling on it. The button can then also be removed by pushing it through from the other side with your finger. Before removing the front camera assembly, the Phillips screw that anchors this shield to the top of the screen can be removed. To begin removing the front camera assembly itself, the bracket that holds it in place will need to be removed. This can be done by first removing the 2 Phillips screws that hold it in. The bracket will then need to be unclipped in the top right corner before it can be removed. The ear speaker can be removed easily at this time as well. The flex for the front camera can be removed next by first prying carefully to the right of the light and proximity sensors and then working your way underneath the terminals for the ear speaker. Doing this should unadhere it completely, where all you should have to do now is pull the secondary microphone out of its spacer, though you'll want to leave the assembly attached to the shield on the back of the display. To remove this shield, there will be 4 Phillips screws on either side of the display that will need to be removed. The shield can now be removed. With the new display, the shield can be placed onto the back of it, and the 4 Phillips screws that we just took out can be replaced. To start rebuilding the front camera assembly, the secondary microphone will need to be slid into its spacer before the front camera and 2 sensors can be put into their respective brackets. Once this is sitting flat, the ear speaker can be slid into its spacer and the metal bracket can be replaced. There will be a hook on the left side of the bracket that will need to catch under a notch in the plastic frame of the screen before the bracket can be laid in and clipped down on the right side. The 2 Phillips screws can then be replaced to secure it in, along with that screw that anchors the top of the shield to the screen. The home button can be reconstructed by laying it into its slot and re-adhering the flex to the screen. The backplate for it can then be laid in, and the screws for it can be replaced. When reattaching the ground screw, you'll want to make sure that this little metal piece stays to the left of the screw so that it's able to make contact with the charge port. To reattach the display, the clips will need to be fastened in the following order: the digitizer clip, the clip for the LCD, and the clip for the front camera assembly. Then the plate that covers them and the 4 Phillips screws can be replaced. Now the battery can be clipped back in, and the plate can be replaced along with the 2 Phillips screws for it. Before closing up the phone, the flex for the home button will need to be reattached to the charge port, and the bracket that covers it will need to be replaced. It's easier to carefully skew the screen when replacing the bracket instead of just trying to clip it in with the screen up. To close the phone, there will be plastic hooks on the top of the display. These hooks will need to slide into the top of the back housing before the display can be sat in the rest of the way. Once the display is sitting in flat, the bottom 2 pentalobe screws can be replaced, finishing the repair.